I think what kind of got lost in the last week or so is we're going to have this conversation about what was reported, actual reports versus people's opinions. The one thing I reported coming out of the combine that was not an opinion, but was an actual thing that I wrote about in my Die Hard newsletter, I put it on the show a bunch of times, was that Plan B had become draft a different quarterback than Caleb Williams. Plan B was no longer Justin Fields. So it was Caleb still Plan A, but you asked me about the medicals. If something pops up there, if something along the way here comes up that they're not comfortable with, Plan B became draft one of these other quarterbacks. And I tried as hard as I could to get that across to people who just didn't want to hear it. And I get it. That's fine. But that's why this trade's being made. The other holdup, though, the real holdup in all of this was that while it wasn't quite as obvious as last year when Ryan Poles put a for sale sign up for that number 1 pick in Indianapolis, we all said it while we were in Indy. We felt like the same thing was happening this year, but it was for Justin Fields this time. Mm-hmm. And instead of it being like when I sold my house a few years ago and we had, I think it was like 40 visits in 48 hours, like it was last year for that number 1 pick. This time around, a couple people showed up to the party, and then they looked elsewhere. And the one thing we were wrong about, and I'll raise my hand, like I thought Justin was right there behind Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson in line. I didn't think this was going to go down to Sam Howell getting moved and Gardner Minshew getting money in Las Vegas and quarterback after quarterback after quarterback going, and Justin Fields still sitting on the sideline. So as I always do, I'll tell you when I'm wrong. That was the one thing in all this that I was wrong about. And so it never really was about the medicals. Certainly the idea that he was never on the trading block was a borderline conspiracy theory that just went rampant and was wild. They were trying to move him. They didn't get what they thought they were going to get for him. And that was the delay in all this. It really didn't have to do with Caleb Williams' medicals or him not showing up at Hallis Hall or anything like that for that visit. They're going to move on. They're going to be at the pro day this week. He's going to make his visit to Hallis Hall, I think, shortly after that. And after all that, they're going to have a pretty good picture. And if they decide after all that there's a pivot that we don't foresee where they're not going to take Caleb, well, it's going to be a different quarterback now.
Mm-hmm. We all silly like the mayor.